wanted to ask you, obviously the game doesn't always go as planned, and just want to ask you about the anxiety level in those first 15 minutes until Kyle got that first, and then they got the second. Was it big for him to get those goals to kind of just get the nerves out and kind of relieve a bit of tension, I guess, in the squad?
Yeah, I think we addressed it prior to the game that, the performance wasn't going to be perfect. You could sense that in the training building up. You've got a tactical framework, but the reality is, guys haven't played together for 16 months. And if anyone's played any football in their time, imagine turning up and not playing with a group of people, for 16 months of this COVID period. And I think those 15 minutes, you've got to credit Bermuda as well. I mean, they brought that level of intensity. We knew that they have a level of physicality. They have a real team spirit there. And they have that pace on the counter-attack. They were always going to be a threat. But I felt, our boys, we could control the one thing we could control, which was our defensive organisation. I thought that was solid enough. And, we were very clear that if we were able to commit to that one factor, those other parts of the tactics and the way of playing, the chemistry would start forming as the game went on, and it did. The confidence started to grow and they started to find their rhythm. So, it was always going to be, I think, a shaky 15 minutes. But we said to the guys, don't get frustrated. You're going to miss passes. It's going to feel clunky, but there'll be moments in that game where your quality will just shine through, and it really did.
Thank you, Maurice, for taking the time to speak to us. First of all, could you fill us in? You had a short bench tonight. Can you fill us in as what happened with your playing personnel?
Well, it took quite a bit of effort for us just to get to the starting line. So we were happy to get to the starting line of the match with the personnel that we have. So this is our first competition with the COVID protocols and even with the pandemic itself. So it was difficult for us to get everybody to even be able to play in the match, or the amount of players that we did. So we had some players that were previously positive, or we were quarantining in Bermuda as well. And it was, it's the past, the time, the quarantine period, but still having results that didn't allow us to have them in and around the match or in and around the team. So we have to do quite a bit of quarantining to keep ourselves safe, so that we could even get the amount of players that we did to the match today.
Did you have more players who were in Florida but couldn't come because of the testing, or did they not make it here?
So we left some players at the hotel here in Florida, and then we even left some players and our head coach back in Bermuda.
Okay, thank you. I hope everybody gets okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Earl, if you'd like to unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hey, Maurice. Obviously, it was going to be a tall order, but what was the plan going into tonight with what you had available to you?
Yeah, so I think a lot of the difficulty was always going to be difficult for us. The league or domestic football in Bermuda hasn't been going since the December. Our opponents, many of our opponents are in season. So there's always going to be a disparity in our fitness levels, because of where the players are. And credit to Canada, they played well and they created good problems for us in the match tonight. We have our way of playing as Bermudians, our identity, our style of play. And it was a little difficult, to impose ourselves on the match based on the quality of Canada.
We in our CONCACAF Nations League first match in 2019, we lost 5-1 to Mexico to start that event. We've lost 5-1 to Canada. How do we regroup from this one as opposed to back in 2019?
We'll do our analysis. We'll go through our recovery protocols. We have another match on the 30th versus Aruba, so we don't have time to feel sorry for ourselves. We go straight into our recovery protocol so that we can be prepared for the next match. So we don't have the luxury of feeling sorry for ourselves. We have to get on with it as quickly as possible.
Okay, all right, go to work.
Yeah, I will.
Thomas, please go ahead with your question.
Hi, I want to ask you about Crane Critchlow, Watford U23 player. He's first player in this game. What did you see from him, and how are you hoping that the dual nationalization process can help your national team in the future? Thanks.
So it was good for Kane to score on his debut for Bermuda, so that's fantastic for him. Getting a goal in an international match. I spoke with him after the game, and he was happy to score, but disappointed that he scored in a losing cause for us. So the goal, lost a bit of its significance for him, because we lost the match. The dual naturalization really doesn't apply to us as much in Bermuda. So our immigration laws are very strict in Bermuda. We do have a lot of Bermudian players that were born in Bermuda that have Bermudian passports that are in the UK. And you see Kane playing is perhaps the first of many that we have quite a bit of players that are over in the UK, but the naturalized Bermudians. It's not a dual citizenship thing. Most Bermudians have dual citizenship, us being an overseas territory. So, we have both Bermudian passports and UK passports, but most of those players were born in Bermuda.
All right. If we have no further questions for the head coach, we will ask Dale.
Just one thing to celebrate.
Sure.
It's Cerebral Palsy Awareness Day today. So our players players and staff on the bench had on our green bibs to celebrate awareness for cerebral palsy and for Team Tink. So go Team Tink. We were definitely taking note or showing our support for Cerebral Palsy Awareness Day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maurice. At this time, we'll ask Dale Eve to please come up.
Dale, so early in the match, you get that knock on the nose. How were you feeling prior to that, and then obviously immediately after that, having your nose clogged up and trying to continue on playing?
As footballers, we get knocks all the time, so it's all about your mental toughness. It was a quick plug in and time to get on with it and play on. It never was a setback. It was never going to be a setback. I hadn't had any plans of discontinuing the game. So for me, it was just, let's fix it and continue.
I mean, you pulled off some remarkable saves. Unfortunately, they got the 5 that they did. But can you summarize the team's performance from a goalkeeper standpoint?
Again, going back to majority of our players, well, pretty much all of our players being out of season and pretty much behind on fitness levels. For the performances that they pushed themselves to give us, I feel like we've done well enough. Coming up against, top draw players and people in season, whether or not, you think you're better, it's being in stride already, or being in season, or having training is already a percentage more to go up against. So everyone giving their all at 100%, and you see people we pulled out with cramps. You see people who looked a bit, fatigued. That's our players giving their 100%. So I'm giving us a 8 out of 10 for performance, just for effort given. The scoreline is a scoreline. It doesn't necessarily reflect on how we played together tonight.
And my final question would be, what was the mood in the changing room at the end of it? Because we do have to quickly turn around and get ready for Aruba on Tuesday night. So what was the mood in the changing room at the end of the game?
A bit quiet. So myself, I tried to, throw some jokes in there, give some general vibe to everyone, because at the end of the day, we have a quick turnaround. There's no time to feel sorry for ourselves. So the least or the faster we got over it, the better for us. Like, I just had to let everyone know, look, game's over now. We can go around and analyze it, and we can talk about it at another date. But from here on out, we just have to get focused and ready for the 30th.